So we're finally here. Welcome to my spoilers review.
I have waited a long time for this moment.
Yeah, like since it was announced that there was gonna be a novelization for the movie. If you haven't read the book or seen the movie yet, you can watch my no spoilers review by clicking the link in the description or clicking the cards link in the upper right corner. I gave my verdict of the book already in the no spoilers review. So now I'm just gonna explain my verdict in detail. I'm sure you could tell by now that I'm more of a fan of the Star Wars novels than I am of the movies. I've also been told that I might have a problem. I'm a casual fan profiler. Dude, I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
We meet again, Kenobi.
Wait, Darth Maul's alive? Dude, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Wait, aren't stormtroopers clones? Last year I stumbled into making these reviews, but the reality of it was more like this was actually the will of the Force. Or in my personal case, this was the Tao at work. I've already seen more than enough movie reviews about this, and they're all pretty much the same, but I seem to stand in a category of my own. There's not many people that share my point of view for the Star Wars universe. For instance, I'm somebody that believes in George Lucas's vision. Many fans hate him for the prequels, but I don't. The prequels opened the door to a vast universe that could continue to grow. Yeah, the movies have terrible dialogue, lots of crappy CGI, and cringe-worthy characters. However, before it was decanonized, the Legends Expanded Universe gave us a much more mature glimpse of what Star Wars could be. The Clone Wars television series made a deep impact as well, and that still remains to be canon, all of which fit the vision that I love so much. The stories were deep with emotion and philosophy. Then Disney got rid of everything except for the films and the Clone Wars television series. I'm okay with the transition now, and I have grown to love it, but I do often wonder how George Lucas's vision would have panned out in its entirety. After seeing his interview with Charlie Rose, I wanted it even more. I mean, just watch this part of the interview.
Just sort of Empire and Return of the Jedi.
Right.
And after about a couple weeks, I knew I couldn't do that. I had to stand over the shoulder of the director, help him, whisper in his ear constantly, no, do this, do that, and be there to help guide it. And it was much harder than if I just directed it myself.
J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams, he's a good director and he's a good friend and all this sort of thing. But he's also a top director, his own company, all this other stuff. And Disney, who was a little nervous, there's one of the issues was the first three movies had all kinds of issues. They looked at the stories and they said, we want to make something for the fans. So I said, all I wanted to do was tell a story of what happened. It started here and it went there. And it's all about generations and it's about, the issues of fathers and sons and
When the ending credits began to roll while I was watching The Force Awakens, I felt the same way as he did. This was more of a film to satisfy prequel haters than anything else. However, the book does supplement for everything that the movie lacks. Let's talk about that. Here's all the things that the book gives us that the movie doesn't. The reason why Leia doesn't go in search of her brother is because other leaders of the Resistance won't allow it. Lord Santeca has legendary status among the Resistance. You get a chance to view Finn's emotional perspective when he chooses to defect from the First Order. Rey is nearly 20 years old. Finn was the first to ever ask Rey if she was okay. We find out how the Guavian Death Gang and Kanji Club got aboard Han's cargo ship. We get a lot more detail as to why Han is hauling Rathtars. Apparently, the New Republic doesn't view the First Order as a legitimate threat. And many of the senators think that General Organa is crazy. After Finn and Poe were shot down by the First Order while attempting to escape in a stolen TIE fighter, Poe was found by a Blarina named Naka'id on Jakku. The name of the planet that Han takes Finn and Rey to is called Takodana, and the name of the woman who informs the First Order of their presence there is named Bazine Natal. The First Order used Starkiller Base to destroy the Hosnian system. Snoke regards Kylo Ren as his greatest student, and apparently was watching him since he was born while slowly trying to draw him over to the dark side. Chewie allows Rey to pilot the Falcon. Okay, that was a lot. As you can see, I really enjoyed the book, but this new addition to the Star Wars universe is missing the key ingredients that makes it so awesome. However, this story is made for kids. I can't make it all about me as a man in my mid-30s. Not to say that adults can't enjoy these movies, but I think that's what's missing in these films for me. That might be the reason why I love the book so much. The original RoboCop was a rated R movie, but I loved it as a kid. Okay, I still love it, but on a different level now. As an adult, I realize how ridiculous it is.
Bitches leave.
And there's tons of nostalgia that comes along with it. I think that's what most fans wanted. Like Lucas said, Disney wanted to make something for the fans. Well, personally, I didn't want something that satisfied my nostalgia. I wanted Lucas's vision to come to life through the eyes of J.J. Abrams. Like I said, I didn't mind the prequels. Despite their flaws, which all the films have, they still have good stories. I love the Legends novelizations of the prequels, especially Episode 3. Matthew Stover does an amazing job giving a deeper story. The first few chapters take you into the minds of the main characters and give you enough backstory to make you feel like you actually know them. For example, General Grievous is 1 billion times scarier in the book than in the movie. In the movie, he's a joke. In the book, when he kills a Neimoidian with a single punch, that sent chills up my spine. In the film, he's just an annoying coward. What I'm really trying to say is, despite how I feel about the movies, the book always seems to make up for it. That means that if the almighty George Lucas gets a pass because he made some films with some major flaws in it, then I certainly should be able to forgive Disney for the flaws in The Force Awakens. So far, I like what's been done with the books and comics. Honestly, it's a lot more consistent than the erratic Legends EU. I can't wait for Chuck Wendig and Claudia Gray's follow-up books to release later this year. Plus, by reading those books, that gives us hardcore fans a chance to fill in the blanks, while casual fans have to wait until Episode 8. I just love hearing casual fans say things like, "I wish we could find out more about the New Republic and how it was formed." And I just sit back and smile to myself. However, I found out that there was a few deleted scenes from the movie that were in the book. This book didn't go as deeply as Revenge of the Sith's novelization did. Probably so Disney can sell more books. One thing I do want to know is how Maz Kanata gets a hold of Anakin's lightsaber. Well, this scenario makes a lot more sense than how someone got Vader's lightsaber. Has to be a little weird being the person that finds it though. Like when you see it fall in front of you out of the sky, out of nowhere, and there's a hand attached to it, do you think to yourself, maybe I should find the owner? Luke's case, do you keep the cold dead hand and use it for cloning like Thrawn did? Or do you pry the saber from its cold fingers and walk away like nothing happened? Also, we have this Snoke business. Who is he? Is he Plagueis? Is he not Plagueis? If he is, that makes the Star Wars galaxy so small, yada yada yada. Well, this is where casual Star Wars fans always get dragged in directions that don't make sense because they don't know much about the Star Wars universe. And this is how stupid rumors get started. Like Luke being Kylo Ren. You don't even have to be a hardcore fan to know that one. This photo was leaked long before the first trailer. In this case, these rumors seem pretty legit, but only hardcore fans can find enough evidence to support this theory. You have to be familiar with the Rule of Two created by Darth Bane, and you have to have read this novel to know that Snoke mentions seeing the rise and the fall of the Empire. I'm not talking about the legend stories. I'm referring to the small revelations given in the prequels, the Clone Wars television series, and the Tarkin novel. And by Snoke mentioning that he witnessed the rise and the fall of the Empire, he had to be around since at least before the Clone Wars. With the actions of Palpatine, we know that the Sith can easily hide in plain sight without anyone suspecting their true identity. We also know that Plagueis had the ability to create life and to keep other beings from dying. Plagueis certainly could have made Sidious believe that he was dead, therefore allowing Sidious to be able to execute his grand plan to destroy the Jedi. And as the Tarkin novel explains, the nature of the Force is to have balance. So while the dark side is in power, the light side can always strike back. So Plagueis could have definitely been able to sit in the shadows and wait for Sidious to be overthrown by the nature of the Force. And this gives him the opportunity to seize power and take on a descendant of the Skywalker lineage as his pupil. Nah, this doesn't seem much like a stretch at all. Sidious was determined to eliminate every single threat to his power in the galaxy. So other dark side users within the galaxy just doesn't make sense. While Plagueis, being Sidious's master, makes perfect sense because he would be the only Force user in the galaxy powerful enough to evade him. And the only real threat to Plagueis's power would be Luke Skywalker, the last of the true Jedi. Now, I want to talk about Rey. Who is she, and why is she so strong in the Force? In the movie, we see her quickly find her bearings in the Force. It almost seems a bit too quick, but the book makes sure to explain how she discovers her powers. So, with her being that strong in the Force, most people immediately want to tie her into the Skywalker lineage, particularly Luke Skywalker. But again, some people don't want it to be Luke because it makes the galaxy seem small. So I guess the galaxy doesn't seem so small when we spend so much time in the same places. Yeah, okay, we've seen a lot of planets, but it's almost as if these planets are like small towns in a big city. I think it's time we let go of the small galaxy issue. It's kind of hard to make a planet seem bigger without confining an entire story to it. So imagine doing that for a galaxy. Also, Star Wars is all about the Skywalkers. Even the Legends EU makes that clear. Like how Lana Ree Brock, the Jedi Ranger, has a vision of Darth Vader. And she lived 25,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. And Cade Skywalker defeating Darth Krayt 150 years after the Battle of Yavin. Not to mention the Fel and Solo families of the Legacy comic series. The Old Republic may have nothing but stories that set the foundation for the Skywalker legacy, but they're great stories. They do a good job at expanding the galaxy. And the new expanded universe has the opportunity to do that again, but with less holes in the overall story. So back to Rey. I don't see anything wrong with her being a descendant of Skywalker. Actually, I think it makes for a far better and more emotional story. But while everyone is contemplating whether or not she's Luke's daughter, I'm more concerned with who her mother is. I so badly want her to be Mara Jade, or a similar character. That way, Rey's story can be even more complex. Rey was born to a light side father and a dark side mother, a mother who abandoned her family in the same way that Nina Calixta did with Cole and Cade Skywalker in the Legends Legacy comic series. So she's an agent of the First Order now, and Rey and Luke attempt to redeem her along with Kylo Ren. This is a little bit of a stretch, but hey, let a guy dream. I really miss the Legends EU, and all I want is some bits and pieces to be real again. I mean real like canon. I do know the Star Wars is fancy. Well, with characters like Maz Kanata, there is room to have a really good story for Episode 8. She can serve as a mentor to Rey, Luke, and Leia. She might even provide a little bit of backstory on Darth Bane. So in all fairness, Disney is doing a good job. And although I do wish that I could have seen George Lucas's vision fully come to life, I think it's time to let it go. It's time for a new era of Star Wars. And let's just hope that it doesn't get the same treatment that Tron is getting from Disney down the road. Because that, my friends, is one good story gone bad. And I don't mean that the Tron story went bad. I mean that Disney just gave up on a good thing only because a better business venture came along. And in this case, it was Star Wars, so what can you do? Well, anyway, that's all I have to say about this film's novelization. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, may the Force be with you.